Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our school board meeting today being February 24th, 2022. I call this meeting to order, and if you will join us in a moment of silence, please. Thank you. And if you will now stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Madam Clerk, will you please call roll?
Yes, Madam Chair. Mr. Bryant,
Present.
Ms. Bryson Morseberger,
Present.
Ms. Dooley,
Present.
Dr. Kraft,
Present.
Ms. McKeever,
Here.
Mr. Morris,
Present.
Ms. Torres.
Yes, thank you. And maybe an oversight on my part, may I have a motion, please, to allow Ms. McKeever to be joining us remotely today?
I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, and now for approval of our agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we, excuse me, I move that we accept the proposed agenda.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you. And we now will have our first opportunity for comments from members of the community. If you would like to speak, please state your name, address, limit your comments to 3 minutes. I believe we did have somebody, and I can't tell, I don't have my computer up. If there is anybody signed up through Zoom, if you will please raise your hand in the chat. We will give a couple more seconds for that. We will have another opportunity in a little while for comments from members of the community as well. So I'll close this first comments from members of the community, and we will now open it up for public comment, specifically regarding our 2022-2023 budget. So if anybody would like to make comment about that, you are now free to do so. Again, if you're joining us via Zoom, please indicate your desire to speak by raising your hand. All right. We'll close that. Thank you very much. And again, you'll have another opportunity to speak towards the end of the meeting. And we will now, I will turn it over to Dr. Gurley for our action item.
All righty. So since our last work session, we have not had any modifications to our proposed budget. So at this time, we will entertain any questions you all have, and I'll also will ask Ms. Powell if she wants to just give a brief update with regards to where we are in terms of the state budget process.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Gurley. So we don't have an update on the state budget at this time either. And what I mean by that is I just double checked with our finance director, Ms. Hoover. We have not yet received what we call a calc tool for the House or Senate budget proposal. Without a calc tool, which basically takes the proposed budget and allows us to put in our projected enrollment and come up with what our projected state funding is, there really isn't any new state number available. So we're still working with the most recent calc tool we have available, which is based on Governor Northrup's proposed budget. That said, the only things that I have heard or that Ms. Hoover have heard are things that are generally in line with what had been proposed. For example, you may have seen headlines about proposals for a 4% raise with a 1% bonus and that type of thing. And for us and for most school divisions, when they start to talk about that bonus language, you roll it all in because it's very complicated if you do it any other way with regard to VRS in particular. So that's an encouraging sign to me that the only things I've seen around salary action, for example, seem to be in line with what we're already working with. Of course, time will tell, and it's something we have to keep an eye on. And the other thing we're keeping an eye on with the state is the legislation around sales tax and allowing local localities to put that before their local voters. There's both legislation or proposed legislation around statewide authorization to allow that. And then there is also legislation around three different specific localities, well, two, Isle of Wight and Charlottesville for sure. And then Prince Edward's also been in that discussion. That legislation's been doing very well on the Senate side of the General Assembly, but on the House side, it's still not advancing as we had hoped. So we're still watching that carefully, and we'll see what comes of that. But it's at this point in the House, it's not advancing as we had hoped. We'll have to see what tomorrow brings. Tomorrow morning's a very important subcommittee meeting, 7:30 in the morning.
Could you remind us of what that meeting is tomorrow morning?
It's a subcommittee under the House Finance Committee where there's a group of legislators who will be deciding whether or not it advances to the full House Finance Committee. There is bipartisan support for the legislation in the House, but within that subcommittee, it could still be tough sledding.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions for Ms. Powell? So I do want to, again, on behalf of the board, thank you, Dr. Gurley and your team for preparing this budget. I know this has not been probably the easiest budget as a first budget to bring forward, but we really do appreciate all of the work that and collaboration with your team and what you have brought to us. So thank you very much. So
I'll go ahead and move the approval of the budget as suggested by or recommended by the superintendent.
I will second that.
Thank you. So we do have a proper motion and a second. If there are any questions or concerns. All right, and then I'm going to ask Ms. Dooley to read a statement, please.
Sure. So I, Emily Dooley, declare that my husband is employed as a teacher in the Charlottesville City Schools Division. He was working in this capacity prior to my election to the school board, and this will in no way influence my voting on the 2022-2023 budget.
Thank you, Ms. Dooley. All right, so we have a motion, a second. Made her statement. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? All right, thank you. Congratulations, sir. Thank you. All right. So now we have another opportunity for comments from members of the community. I know we had tentatively had, I thought somebody signed up, but I don't know that she's here. All right. Oh, I like my shirt as well. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. We'll close that. Any board member comments at this time? All right. And any comments from you, Dr. Gurley?
I just want to say thank you to my team and thank you to the board.
Thank you very much. As far as upcoming meetings, we do have our regularly scheduled meeting next Thursday, March 3rd, here, 5 o'clock in the Media Center. And we welcome, as always, emails, comments, and appreciate all of the work of the team. So thank you very much. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting.